Good morning. We are live. Thanks everybody for joining in. It's Thursday. I woke up today and I thought, I can't believe it's already Thursday. This week has gone so fast, and it has. And it's been a good couple days. If you've been checking your portfolios, good chance they're up. But before we get into that, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're watching on the replay, it's great to have you here on the replay. Don't forget to hit the like. We get that out of the way if you're watching live, and if you want to join us live, we're live. I'm tongue tied today. We're live 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45. It'd be great to have you join live. We get a good group of people here. Coffee crew rolls in just after 8 as we get going, and usually have a good conversation. So we'll see who is here. I see that Candace is here. She's always the first. No one has beat Candace to the live stream yet. That's the challenge for everybody. And she gets us our joke of the day, which is always amazing and terrible at the same time. Good morning, Candace. Hopefully you're doing well. And your morning is good, and you're making lots of money. Hopefully, everybody is making lots of money. I think. Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into all the news and that kind of stuff as we get going. So, MC, good here. Good morning. Always good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, your day so far is going well. And Stan is here. Good morning, Stan. Always good to have you here. And we'll see who else. If you're rolling in, if you're new, don't be afraid to say hi. It's a good group, mostly Canadians. Although we hit our first, I think, international visitor yesterday from Indonesia. So if you're from somewhere else, let us know. But you're always welcome. But we mostly talk about Canadian. Well, we talk about financing, but we talk about mostly Canadian investing, TFSAs, that kind of thing, RSPs, all that kind of good stuff. Might not be as relevant to you, but it's always good to have you join in. Let's get this chat GPT. Oh, you spelled it wrong, but that's okay. Chat GPT, fun joke of the day. Why did the groundhog start investing in spring stocks? His shadow told him to catch the market as it blossomed. Good joke. Well, not really a joke, but good content for today, Candace, because the market seems to be blossoming. The big news today, we talked about yesterday coming up, but of course it wasn't happening. The meeting, the Fed meeting down in the United States, interest rates, no surprise, interest rates increased 0.25%, but the market liked how the commentary went. I was actually watching a live stream with it yesterday, and it was interesting to watch as Powell came on and started talking, and literally instantly how the market reacted to what he was talking about. And I think, is it also Groundhog Day today? I did not know that. So, well, I actually didn't know that. What happens if they see the shadow? He runs, or if it's no shadow? What's the good thing? I'm not sure. If he sees his shadow, he goes back in for another whatever time. But no, market reacted good. I think it's interesting to hear the commentary on it and how it's interpreted. I interpreted it. I went to Twitter after. There's a few people I follow, and it was interesting how some people interpret it as, rates are still going to rise, hard stance, hawkish. But I took it the other way when I was listening to it, just for whatever reason. I don't know. Let me know how you, in the comments, how you kind of, how you interpreted it all. I think the market interpreted it as people, market up, people putting more risk on stocks, because as we've seen, one of the articles I'll pull up will be, because we're starting to see earnings now from a lot of the companies, right? Facebook had their earnings after market close yesterday, and basically have gone through the roof. For people that own Facebook, that's awesome. Good for you. Hopefully it's helping. And Apple is today, which we'll bring up. But yeah, it was interesting, I think. But again, back to that, on Twitter and some of the financial people I follow took it as rates are still going to be keeping increasing down in the States come March. But hey, time will tell. I think his tone was a bit softer in regards to, and also making mention that inflation is starting to come down. I think that's the first time they've really made a mention of it really dropping. So we'll have to see. Always interesting times. What happens? We'll have. I think we had a decent afternoon yesterday, if you checked your portfolio, and it looks like today as well another decent day. So yeah, I think that's exactly it. If the groundhog sees a shadow, he hides for another 6 months or whatever. MC, perfect. I'll read the rest of your comment because some of it got cut off here. I watched it also. Seemed calm and less assertive on raising rates aggressively. That's how I read it. That's the interpretation that I got as well. Seemed happy that inflation is starting to come down and the instruments that they are using are starting to work. That's exactly it. I think that's the gist kind of that I got out of it, and didn't say, he doesn't want to say, or they don't want to say, we're going to pause or lower right away, or much like Bank of Canada the week before, right? Kind of really came out and said we're gonna pause with conditions. They didn't go, the Fed didn't go that, he didn't go that far, but that's kind of how I read into it. I think the risk that they have, the risk they have is to not go enough, right? And then inflation comes ripping back up. But I think we'll have periods of that though. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be a steady decline of inflation. It's still going to be, I think, elevated for a while, but I think it's starting to work its way through the system, especially in Canada. You know what? I'll skip over an article because I did have one article that kind of relates to interest rates in Canada that popped up at me, which was, let's pull this up. It's always good to talk about this. Variable rate mortgages, right? We've talked about rates before. I've been trying to get my friend Rob, who's a mortgage broker out in Ontario, does a lot of residential mortgage stuff out in Ontario, to come on and talk about rates, but he was away. We haven't been able to kind of hook up for a live stream yet. I will have him back on to kind of talk about mortgage rates, what's happening, that kind of thing. I think that would be probably a good stream again. To have him on, but this one caught my eye this morning. 45%. Now again, this is just obviously a Yahoo poll. It's not exhaustive by any means, but 45% of variable mortgages say they will have to sell in under 9 months. That's pretty scary for that. Basically, it breaks down. According to the survey, 45% of Canadians with a variable rate mortgage would be able to ride out today's interest rate levels for 8.3 months before having to sell or vacate their home. Of those with a line of credit on their home, 45% said they would be able to sustain today's interest rate levels at 8.3 months as well. But homeowners with fixed rate mortgages feeling a little bit pressure, right? Because it's obviously the rate is fixed. But 35% of those with a fixed rate mortgage will be able to ride out a 4.5% interest rate for 10.4 months. So if you're, for example, coming in for a renewal of your mortgage and the rate is going to be higher, everybody that has to renew their mortgage today, tomorrow, is renewing to a higher rate. That's where we're starting to, I think, see, and this is possibly why the Bank of Canada is pausing rates. It's not just tied to, obviously not just, interest rates aren't just tied to mortgages, but a big percentage of Canada is impacted by mortgages. Probably I'm not entirely sure how the mortgages totally work down in the States, but from my understanding is when they get a mortgage, they get the rate, they can lock it in for like 30 years for the entire term, right? But in Canada, we typically go 5-year term, and so you're more susceptible to shorter terms. I mean, 5 years is, I would consider 5-year short term, but you're more susceptible to fluctuations after 5 years because you have to renew your mortgage in 5 years, either or you sell it, right? So you're tied to that. You have a 25 or 30-year amortization, but you have to renew your term. And that's where people are starting to get impacted, and that's where we're seeing the lag. And so maybe that's why Canada is a bit more kind of in their wording, saying they're going to be pausing because it's going to be probably starting to affect a lot more people. It just takes time to work its way through the system, which we're seeing. So hopefully we kind of start to see inflation kind of coming down. And Fed data. I wonder if I can't make it bigger. Sorry, MC, but I'll read your comment so people can see it as they're listening. This Fed is very data dependent. So there will be more data points coming between now and March. I believe Jerome Powell will be speaking next week at the Economic Club, so we'll see what he says. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of stuff happening. I haven't looked into when he's speaking next, but I think it's worthwhile to listen to for sure, or read. Find something on it. We'll have to kind of see what pans out. I mean, if anything, all signs kind of I think kind of positive. I'm taking it as a positive. I'm always a bit more on the positive side for things, anyways. This is kind of how I am. So I think it's doing its job and it's working. Hopefully, there was no kind of talk of big recession or recession. They're kind of the way it's kind of thinking is a bit more of a well, it's time. Well, that's the thing. We'll know when if it's the case. There's still there's still lots of employment out there. Layoffs. They've been coming into a lot of the tech side we've talked about. But again, time will tell. We'll have to see on there. On tech, lots of tech earnings coming out. I was going to pull up. Let's find it here. Where's my screen share? And that's exactly what I was going to be bringing up next, MC. For those that are following, looking for earnings, we do have a ton coming up today. Apple, Google, and Amazon. Meta, Facebook Meta. Let me just move your comment out of the way. Facebook Meta, let's pull that up. They had huge, mojo back. I love these titles, whoever writes these, but Meta had their earnings yesterday, but it went up 18. The stock went bonkers yesterday after hours. So everybody kind of likes that. It seems like tech is everybody's kind of everybody running into tech again. But the big thing here is they're also going to be boosting its stock buyback plan to $40 billion. So price there. Amazon, everything, Apple, Amazon, all tech is up today. It'll be interesting to see, I think, for me, kind of watching I don't own Apple other than in, any ETFs, but Apple's interesting because I did have an article on Apple. Hold on here. Their earnings is later on today. Now, I don't dig super deep into earnings on stuff. I know if Candace is watching, she's the one that does these deep dives into earnings and everything. So she's the better person to ask than me for sure. So Microsoft, pull that up. Microsoft had a week guide, so it'll be interesting to see what the other big tech has to say. Yeah, I've been reading a ton about Microsoft and ChatGPT, MC. They're working it into. There was an article and I didn't save it. I was reading it yesterday. There's an article where they're working ChatGPT into Microsoft Teams, and it will be used to write meeting summary notes and a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be interesting. It's kind of a neat technology. I think once they get it rolling, and if they tie it in, I'm just thinking if they can work it somehow into doing meeting note summaries, if they can tie it in somehow to voice recognition and all this stuff to get meeting notes from when you're doing an online Microsoft Teams meeting or something like that. Pretty amazing time saver for people. We'll have to see. That seems to be where all the excitement is right now, is in AI. But I was going to pull up Apple, but we can talk about your chat. Yeah, AI as a service will be the next tech reoccurring revenue model. Well, that's exactly it. There'll be with ChatGPT MC they do have a subscription model already. I think you can subscribe. I don't know if it's in Canada, but you can pay whatever $20 a month or whatever it is, and you'll get access to new features, and you'll also get they did. Let's just pull this Apple back. They did. It's I believe it's $20. I think I could be completely wrong, and it gives you access, because sometimes if you're on the ChatGPT website, it's overloaded. Because everybody on the, obviously in North America, or probably the planet, is trying this thing out, so the service can get overloaded or slow. Whereas if you have the subscription, it will allow you, faster access and access to different features, new features. on there. But Microsoft, I think, is going to be tying it in, like I was saying, with Microsoft Teams for certain things, and I guess eventually tying it into their, some of their office apps. And I know that Microsoft, a lot of the stuff is cloud based now, so they'll tie it in. This is the whole thing: subscriptions, right? Cloud based subscriptions. So, will Google? I think Google might be close behind, kind of nipping at their heels. I think, I don't know. We'll have to see. But that seems to be where it might be worthwhile trying to do a bit of research on some of these other tech or companies that are going to be starting to use AI more. We saw it with BuzzFeed, right? Like BuzzFeed is going to want to use ChatGPT for articles, and their shares went bonkers, right? That was on. I think we were talking about that on Monday, and it'll be interesting to see. There's also obviously other companies and services that are going to be trying to implement this. That might be something to keep an eye on. I don't know, just or research to see if that's a play kind of that people are thinking of possibly wanting to invest in. It seems like last year was big, big metaverse was all the talk, but it's interesting how things kind of can shift. But it'll be interesting to see how these tech companies start to use AI a lot more, right? Facebook or Meta, a lot, Apple, Microsoft, everything. So. Apple, I did have that article on Apple. We'll pull it up. Obviously, nothing really in there. This is kind of predicting what their smartphone sales have been slowing. Kind of predicting what Apple earnings will do. They have kind of this, sort of outperformed. I think a lot of the other tech companies. The one thing with Apple is there's been no layoffs, or nothing really has popped up in any of the news in any large scale layoffs. I think there was that one where I think Tim Cook took a pay, makes gazillions a year anyways. I think he can afford to take a pay cut, but I think he took less of a I forget, like less of a bonus or something like that. I think he's doing okay. I don't think he has to worry to take a bit less of a pay for a year or so. But it'll be interesting to see basically what happens with Apple once their earnings do come out today. With obviously the new, that iPhones seems to be slowing down. People aren't upgrading their phones as much just because of cost. People realizing, hey, I don't need the latest and greatest mobile phone every year. Funny enough, I have my phone. It's an Android. It's not, and I'm up. My contract is up. I'm just going to keep it. It's got of course you have to pay it out, but I'm not going to bother updating a new phone because and I'm getting tons of emails from Bell to upgrade my phone, but you just don't need a new phone every 1 or 2 years, I don't think. So that's what I figure. It's no point in doing that. Just keep it, and that way my bill is somewhat reduced, even though I have to pay for the phone. But at least I'll have it, and I don't see a need to upgrade it unless I drop it. That's. And I've dropped. Well, I haven't dropped that one. I've dropped the phone before, and it cost a fortune to get the screen fixed. It's like cheaper to almost buy a new phone. So there we are. Everybody's. A lot of people are quiet in the chat today. But if you are watching, have any questions, by all means, fire them up. It's good. It's good to have this conversation. Yeah, sit tight. Exactly. There might be some new fancy thing coming out. I had an email at Candace yesterday. This is it's so bad. I think it's a Samsung. I know what kind of phone it is, but I think it's called the S20. It's got a case on it, so I can't check it out, but it's S20, and there's the S23 or something now. I had some email and I looked at it and I'm like, it's the same. It's a phone. Like it doesn't matter. I don't need a brand new phone. That's for sure. That's exactly it. The same thing happens. Desktops are right. You don't need you reach a certain speed on something or things, and you really don't need to upgrade them. When they were brand new, when it was first starting to come out, you would upgrade every year because there was such exponential increases. But things last longer. Like I've had my I use a Mac. Like my main computer here is a Mac, and it is from, when did I buy that? It's been, what year is this? It's from 2020. I bought this mid 2020 because I started to do more videos and I needed to upgrade my not a laptop, but my upgrade my old iMac. So I got a bigger one with a bigger screen, and I got one that you could upgrade the RAM with yourself. I don't think you can do that anymore on the Macs, and Apple is notoriously expensive for RAM. So 2020. So it's probably, well, it's almost probably 3 years old. It's fine. It's perfect. The only reason I think I would have to upgrade and redo it would be if for some reason maybe some of the programs that I was using, because I use subscription-based Adobe programs, if for some reason they didn't work on my computer for whatever reason, the new ones, if there's a latest and greatest, but it's fine. For what I use my computer for, it's fine. I think I probably, as long as it keeps working, probably get another 4 or 5 years out of it. That's the one thing about Apple computers. I mean, they're pricey, but they seem to last. They seem to last longer. That's been my experience with their desktops and laptops. They still are going. And MC, yeah, my old iMacs are coming around that age, 2012 or something like that. I still have them. They're just kind of, it's packed up sitting, it's packed up sitting in a cupboard in a box. If I could probably just pull it out of the box and turn it on, it would be fine. It's a bit slow for video and that kind of stuff. Like they do eventually, when things get that dated, because the programs, especially if you're doing any kind of processor intensive stuff with Adobe and the video editing, it can be a bit more like hard. You need to keep them updated, basically. Yeah, and TVs have gone way down too. I remember when I don't have a TV anymore. I watch everything kind of I just watch everything on my computer or on my phone. Yeah, it was, a couple $1,000s for LCD, right? Or more if you had one of the big ones. I never had one of those big giant ones, but now, yeah, it's like almost like now they give them away, right? You go sign up for Telus or some kind of cable, and they're like a free TV. Yeah, yeah. Trevor, welcome and thanks. I do have a case. I've learned that I used to not use a case, and then one of the phones when I was in the office one time, I dropped it on the tile, cracked the whole screen, and I went and bought. I had to get the screen replaced. I literally had just gotten the phone, probably like not even a month earlier, so it was a brand new phone, and I had to get the screen replaced. And then I bought like the heaviest duty case I could find, and it's fine. It's like one of those giant heavy cases, but it keeps it protected. So, MC, yeah, that's the thing. They do kind of stop the operating system support after a while, and some of the apps won't run on the older ones. That being said, I mean it's you can only, I think, support old hardware for so long before it starts getting obsolete. Doesn't mean it won't work. You just can't necessarily run the latest and greatest. But where that runs into problems is with subscription software, right? Like I mean, the main subscription software I have is Adobe, and sometimes it just won't run on certain. Eventually, won't. It will still run, but you won't be able to upgrade or update your applications. Xeon, good question, and welcome. I think this is your first time commenting. What's the biggest loss on investment you have realized? I haven't. You know what? I haven't. Well, my biggest loss unrealized is Cielo, which is terrible. But I keep it on there because it's a reminder of a bad investment. Well, so far, but I haven't sold. But I haven't sold it, so I haven't really realized. I haven't realized a loss on it yet. It's probably going to happen, but it's not enough to sell to make it. It's kind of like I'm not going to make it back probably anywhere else, so I'll just kind of keep it and see what happens. But I haven't sold anything else. I'm just trying to think. I haven't sold anything in my TFSA and had a loss actually. There's things that are down, right? Some of the the cryptocurrency ETF is down. That's probably, I think, one of the only ones that are really down on my portfolio right now. But I haven't sold, so no losses yet. I'm kind of a buy. I'm a buy and hold. Um, more of a buy and hold. Probably hanging on maybe for too long. I mean, CMC would be one example for. I was actually up, I think, at one point, but it is, it was, but I haven't. There's other ones I'm just trying to think. I haven't sold. Haven't sold. Not to say that's the best advice, but yeah. Paul, good morning. Coffee. I need a sip of coffee. Good morning. Always good to have you here, Paul. Thanks for joining. MC. Oh, and everybody else. I mean, it's never good to talk about, or it's never good to you never want to lose money, but let us know in the comments what's everybody, what's the one, what's the one thing you bought that and learned your lesson from. I guess that's how you have to, that's how you have to, I think that's what I've learned. You have to treat it as a learning experience. You learn along the way. I mean, I think investing is not easy, and you learn from mistakes, and just hopefully your mistakes are minimal. That's the main thing. And I'm still, MC's biggest loss was RIM and BlackBerry, probably around 85% loss. Lesson learned. Yeah, and you have, this is the thing. I think I mean, I've learned it. You just learn it. You eventually, if you're doing investing yourself, and not using something like a robo type advisor, you will learn a lesson usually very quickly, especially in the the last year we've had. But as we know, and it's such an emotional thing, right? So, but we can look at things now, and there's certain stocks that I have that had I sold at a loss, they're right back up. I mean, even even some of the ETFs, the S&P ETF, had I panicked when it was down, I could go back and look at my channel, 10%. It's now with dollar cost averaging and carrying on. I'm even basically. So, that's that's one thing I have to learn probably to do. I don't really have, is cut your losses quicker. That's what you learn. You learn that the hard way. You can put in, kind of, again, TFSA, not necessarily, if we're talking, you'd want to do any kind of like shorter term trades in your personal account, not in your TFSA, but cut your losses quicker is one good point. Have a percent that you're willing to lose and cut it without. Yeah, that's the one. That's some good advice there, MC, for sure. You have to kind of detach yourself from a company for what and think of it as money, and not not any kind of emotionally tied to a company, because you can always buy it back if you wanted to, right? I mean, that's the thing. If for some reason things changed, yeah. And that's with individual stocks. You don't need a huge win percent to have huge gains. Probably 66% win rate will get you there. Yeah, and that's one thing I have to get kind of better at, I think, is a lot of things, is if I and I I did that a little bit with and this is what's been great on my portfolio lately. I have to do an update video, but anyways, I was up on I was buying RioCan regularly for the last couple of years. It was up for me about 10%. I sold a bunch of it off. Take the money and take that increase, lock in a bit of profit, right? And from that, that was part of it. Part of it was learning from the streams as Tesla yield came out. So I took the RioCan gains, sold it. I didn't sell all my RioCan, and bought Tesla yield, and it's up now. I mean, it's up. Well, it won't. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's up, but I'm not gonna sell it. I'm still gonna kind of carry on for a bit. I'll hold it, keep an eye on it. But it's up 30-40% almost. So that's one thing I've learned. I'm kind of learning now. It took 2 years to take some money, like always kind of lock in, sometimes lock in. Nothing wrong with kind of locking in profits and then getting that in, getting that locked in for sure. And this is the thing, everybody has something, right? Trevor, PYR. I'm going to look what that one is. I'm going to look what that one is. Pyrogenesis Canada. PYR. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure what they do. Pyrogenesis. Oh, it's a metal company, metal powders. Interesting. This is the one thing, like a lot of these yeah, so you saved one. Yeah, but a lot of these, like, this is what I find, like some of these really small cap companies and stuff on the TSX, it's gambling, right? I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of like you're taking a gamble, but I find a lot of if you look into and reading some of the stuff they're trying to do, I find quite interesting. And if you're not don't put all of your money into one thing as a gamble, because that's what it comes down to, like that. But if you have a small portion, you kind of think, okay, well, it might not. If for some reason it for whatever reason it hits, not to say I'm not recommending doing it or buying it, but it's kind of fun to try different things, and if you take a loss, if it's not a big one, and that's the thing, you save it as a reminder. You learn the hard way, right? Position sizing, I'm sorry, I'm going to read your comment because it gets cut off, MC. Position sizing is very important. Huge winners with a tiny weighting could not be very significant. Big losers with too much weighting can be detrimental. So have a plan when it comes to sizing. Yeah, you will notice that in things for sure as you get larger, larger positions. I noticed that too. It doesn't take much sometimes to move your portfolio around, even on, I'm heavily in, even in the two ETFs I'm in, but if there's and we see a 1% change in a day, and the weights of even on the ETF are the majority of my portfolio, it can swing, sometimes a little bit substantially, but it's and you notice the amounts more as your portfolio gets bigger and bigger. You notice, like, all of a sudden a 1% loss on something can be pretty substantial if it's sitting at about 20% of your portfolio or more, something like that. But yeah, there's the thing with again, back to Trevor and his reminders. There's so many little companies. I guess it is fun to invest and kind of look into things and see what happens. It is kind of with mine with with Cielo. I was up at one point, made a decent chunk of change. Then you maybe learn not to be so greedy, and I should have just cut it and took it and then forgot about it and put it into something else. But hey, live and learn. It wasn't a huge amount. I would never have put a huge big amount into it. So that was it. That's all the news that I had to pull up. If anybody else has anything they want to ask, questions, comments, fire it away. There is a good group of people watching. Always appreciate it. If you haven't yet, we're partway through, so I always like to say hit the like button if you haven't already. It definitely helps the channel. On the channel front, I will get my update. I didn't have a chance. Work has gotten busy again this week, so that's a good thing. Not complaining, but didn't have a chance yesterday to film my video. The problem I always find with filming my video is when I do my portfolio updates. Sometimes I have to turn my phone, if I'm busy with work, phone keeps ringing, so I have to turn my phone off, but of course it's busy and I can't, so I can't film my videos, because what happens if people keep calling me, it pops up as I'm doing my screen recording, so it's kind of a pain. So I didn't have a chance yesterday to get the portfolio update done, but the portfolio is doing good. On that, I did do my fractional purchase yesterday of Brookfield Asset Management, BAM. So, and then it's I do I did 30. It worked out to about $33, 33.25. So I transferred that into my TFSA, bought fractional share. But I also had there was dividends from TransAlta Renewables, and dividends from uh, as well. So I just put it all into BAM yesterday, fractional share. So that was good. Um, how much will I stream? I'm not going on vacation. I don't have a vacation planned, Candace. Yeah, no, there won't be much. Maybe in the summer, some camping and stuff on the weekends. We'll see. We'll see. The plan, hopefully though, is I can take a week off. That's okay. We've actually been going pretty good with the streams. Made most days. We try and go right. We kind of go Monday to Friday. There's the odd time I'll have meetings or appointments that I can't make or a bit of traveling. Right, if I go see my mom, that kind of stuff. I can't do my live streams normally, but been pretty good. This is number. What number is this? I should know. 84. So coming up on 100. We'll have to do something special for the 100. I hope by 100 the channel will finally I'll find that's the goal. Is sorry, it's not the only goal. I shouldn't say that. It's it's to get some YouTube monetization in on the channel, and that will be the goal. That's the goal of the channel. So hopefully it's before the 100th live stream. That would be good. We're close, actually. It's getting there. All your views, everybody's views help. It's always fun. Even if I wasn't monetized, I would still do these videos. So the first goal was to get 1,000 subscribers, and it's kind of like that's the milestones on YouTube. So it just kind of gives you a challenge, right? According to do it. Yeah, that's much like CMC, like the theory, but obviously not the numbers if you dig into it. But it comes down to like roulette. you just put your money on something and it's like and cross your fingers sometime, I guess. Yeah, that's what happens when you work. I work with a company, but it's technically, I work from home. I work for myself for the most part. Yeah, that's kind of what it's like, Candace. I get if you are working a job that's commission or whatever, or obviously I know you do trading. If you don't work, it's like anything. If you don't work, you don't make money. But so no vacations planned. That's for sure. Still feel. Well, of course, it's what if you say winter. If it's Groundhog Day, winter hopefully is coming to an end. But no big plans for a big trip, anyways, like that. I have no. I've traveled a lot in the past, and I think I got my travel bug taken care of. I was fortunate enough through past work to be able to travel a ton. Yeah. So sometimes it's nice when you're off and taking a break to actually just stay home and do nothing. And I enjoy. If I was off work for a week, I would probably do. You probably would see more videos and more streams and everything else because it's I enjoy it, right? And this is my vacation time. Is the morning, for sure. It's like a little mini vacation on a live stream. And there we go. So I will have an update. Filmed for the video. I will get to it. Just been busy. Sometimes when it comes out, but we'll try and get that done today because it's portfolio is doing pretty good. Pretty happy with things. How I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you've checked your if you're on Wealthsimple, if you've logged into your Wealthsimple account, you will probably be a bit happy when you see it from the past couple days. Will this continue? I don't know. Let me know. Obviously, see what it can change. But we've had a good couple positive days. It's nice to have some. It's always nice to have some positive days from the year and a bit of red ugliness that we had, and just kind of shows sticking with it, slow and steady. It starts to eventually pay off. So that's good. Had we panicked, or had I panicked and sold everything, and then I'd be would I be, you don't want to go FOMOing into anything on days like yesterday or today, at the end of the day, you just want to do slow and steady, and for me, it takes some of the emotion. So it will carry on next Monday. I'll do my $100 into the account, VDY, put it still into cash, PSA, and then some into the S&P. Carry on. Just going to carry that on. That's my plan for the year. Really, the year. Not super exciting, but I think it'll be a good benefit at the end. So there we are. That's all I got, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're not quite at the end here. We got about 4 or 5 minutes left. So if you have any last minute questions or comments, fire them in. If you haven't said hi yet, the challenge to you to say hi. Especially if you're new. It's great to have new people into the chat. We've had a few new visitors throughout the time. It's always good to have new people that are into investing. I have a feeling if the market kind of carries on and keeps doing well, we'll have some more visitors. People seem to really get more invested in investing when the market is going up. So we'll have to see how that pans out. And hopefully, if you're watching on replays and stuff, go check out past videos, channels, and there we go. So we do have Muggsy McMillan. There's some new face. It's a good group. So you have questions, Muggsy? Great to have you. Actually, the coffee crew. It's always good to have new people. The more everybody else chats, the less I have to chat. So you don't always want to necessarily listen to me. So if you have questions or comments, the conversation that happens in the chat is always good. I don't know. What do we do? It's gonna be interesting to see what happens this afternoon. These are always kind of good times. And so any guesses? I'll leave that for the chat, MC. What do we do? Let me see. Let me just go into what else here I had. I was going to pull up because we haven't actually looked at the coffee crew list. Oh, Muggsy from Candace's channel. Awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of people. We have a lot of similar viewers. Obviously, same topic, similar types. Candace does an awesome job in breaking down, getting into the nitty gritty of companies and stocks and ETFs more than I do. Smarter than me. To get in there, I mostly just share. Well, we do the live streams, right, Muggsy? So we kind of get on, have a chat, see what's happening, and then I will share my portfolio on Wealthsimple, my TFSA. On Wealthsimple. So, but the live stream is a good chance to kind of ask some questions on possibly on it. And the goal, if you're new to the channel, I'm trying to get my portfolio up to $100,000. So slow and steady. Been going it'll be 2 years in April. So it's getting there. It's nice to see it starting to kind of finally kind of snowball. Dividends increasing every, because as I'm building, it's nice to see that monthly the dividends coming through are growing, and it's starting to kind of get to the point of where it took 2 years to figure out how I wanted to carry it and invest in it, but learned like we talked about earlier with Trevor, was learn from mistakes, and that's what this channel is all about, and that's what this live stream is about. We're all kind of, I think, on the same page, going forward. So that's good. Good to have you here. And if anybody is watching that isn't, I think everybody that watches is hopefully subscribed to Candace. Go over to Candace's channel after the stream, and for those that don't know, it's Candace's Mountain Finance. If you're watching the chat or the replay, you can just search. If you search on YouTube, Mountain Finance, I always give her a shout out because she helps me as well. So there we go. There we are. Yeah. Thanks, Muggsy. It's coming up to the end. We go to about 1:45, so I will start to wrap it up again. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Do really appreciate it. It was a fun little chat today. It's always good. We'll see. We'll have more to talk about tomorrow after we'll see what's happening with Apple and all these some of the earnings coming out today. Hopefully this green will continue for the next little bit. No problem for the shout out, Candace. Always happy. Hopefully it can maybe shoot you one or two people. I'm not not a million subs, but any little bit helps. It's always good. But you do good videos, Candace. I do enjoy watching kind of your battles and deep dives and. Because a lot of times I see it and I kind of, okay, I'm on the right track. So there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. I got to start work. It's busy, which is good. Give me some more. Once you get paid, you get more money for for investing, which is good. So have a great day, Candace. Always appreciated. Stan, have a great day. Always appreciated tuning in. I'm gonna go top up. I'm gonna go top up my coffee, and that's all, everybody. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow's Friday. TGI.